Hello, Alan. Are
Hello,
you
Miss
ready
Letty.
for chapter 7? It's just at the most exciting moment of the book. So we will not talk anymore. We will carry on so we can read the last chapter of the book. So off you go, Alan.
On Monday morning, Sergeant Foster went to Roger's office and asked some questions. And then he went to Mr. Albert's house and asked some more questions. Inspector Walsh sat in his office and telephoned. He made phone calls about Peter Hobbs and he made phone calls about Tom Briggs. And then he had some coffee and sandwiches. At 3 o'clock, the two detectives drove to the Clarkson house.
Right. So here we see the two detectives are busy finalizing the last of the questions that they want to ask before they make their final decision who they think has murdered Molly, the mother. Right, here we go. I would like to see everyone, he told Roger. Everyone came into the sitting room and sat down. Inspector Walsh stood in front of the window and looked at them one by one. I want to talk to you. Someone killed Molly Clarkson. Someone put sleeping tablets in her hot milk and killed her. Nobody wanted to tell me the true story, but now I know the true story, and I'm going to tell you. The two dogs came slowly into the room and sat down at Diana's feet. It was very quiet in the room. The inspector looked at Albert. Mr. King, your wife is very ill and needs a nurse. You told me this. You didn't tell me about your house. So I wonder what he has to tell him about his house. You are selling your house next month because you need the money. So all of them have in common that they need money for one reason or another. Yeah. So that makes them suspect, no?
Yeah.
Right, off you go.
Albert was angry. Last year, I asked Molly's husband for some money, and he said yes. But then he died in an accident. Accident? Diana cried. That was no accident. Mother killed Daddy because he wanted his money. Let's talk about you now, Diane, said Inspector Walsh. You visited your mother every month and you took money from her. Last month, she gave you money for your television. This month, she gave you money for your telephone. Every month, you told your mother, it was no accident you killed Daddy. I'm going to tell the police. Your mother was afraid of the police, and so she gave you the money. But in the end, she wanted...
Right, so here we can imagine this is the part of the story where everyone is sat together in the living room. Here we can see Jackie because of her description. This would be Uncle Albert, who's married to Molly's sister. This would be Roger and Diana. And here are the policemen. And they're all sat there interested in the story that the inspector is telling them. So let me just carry on a minute. But in the end, she wanted to stop you. She told Dr. Pratt, no more money, she told Dr. Pratt on Thursday. And on Saturday, she died. You took the hot milk to your mother. What did she tell you? Diana began to cry. I love Daddy. He always gave me money. Sorry, I have to laugh at that because she only loved him because of the money, no? He always gave money to me. He loved me. He was mother. She didn't love Daddy. And she didn't love me. Diana stopped. The dogs got up and went to the door. It's true. I took a lot of money from Mother. On Saturday, she told me no more money. I wanted to kill her, but I didn't. The dogs came back and sat down again at Diana's feet. Inspector Walsh looked at Roger. Mr. Clarkson also needed money.
Everybody was money.
Yes, money is the evil, no? Right,
Absolutely.
Off you go.
Roger's face went red. Don't tell them, please. Mr. Clarkson lost his job last month. He has no money, but he has an expensive house and an expensive car. He likes expensive things. His sister looked at him, but Roger put his hand over his eyes. Don't talk to me. It doesn't matter now, Diana said. Mother is dead, and we have a lot of money. You don't need a job. Roger's face went red again. Be quiet, Diana. Now Inspector Walsh began again. Peter Hobbs is a very angry young man. Mrs. Clarkson was not very nice to him. He got the sleeping tablets from the shop. But did he put the tablets in the hot milk? I think not.
Right. Tom Briggs wanted half the garden for his farm. He was in the kitchen that night. Did he put sleeping tablets in the hot milk? I think not. Suddenly, it began to rain. For a minute, everyone watched it through the window. Jackie took a cigarette from her bag and began to smoke. But somebody wanted Peter Hobbs to come into the kitchen that night. She wanted everyone to see him and listen to him, Inspector Walsh said. She? I don't understand, Roger began and stopped.
Inspector Walsh moved away from the window and sat down. I'm going to tell you the true story from now. The true story now. Miss Clarkson, you wanted Peter Hobbs to come to the house that night. He was angry with your mother because of that letter. He said, I want to kill her. And you wanted everyone to hear that. Why? Jackie's face went white. It's not true. What about Diana? You found the empty bottle in her bag. Diana stood up. In my bag, Jackie? What are you talking about? Be quiet, please, and sit down, Inspector Walsh said. He looked at Jackie. It's true. We found the bottle in Diana's bag. But how do you know that? We didn't tell you. You did before you told me before. No, we found the empty bottle in Diana's room.
Oh, so the inspector had been very clever, giving some information which wasn't quite true, so that the killer would fall into the trap. So here we see the surprised face of Jackie. And she makes a mistake by saying exactly where the bottle of tablets was. And only she knew that, and the inspector. We told you that. You talked about Diana's bag. We didn't tell you. Sergeant Foster wrote it all down. Inspector Walsh looked carefully at Jackie. A long time ago, you knew Tom Briggs. He was the gardener here, and you loved him. But your mother didn't like him. Jackie put her hands to her head. No, no. We found your picture, an old one, in Mr. Briggs's house. You were younger then. Your hair was long. Last year, Tom Briggs came back and you wanted him. You loved him too, but he had no money. He wanted the garden for his farm. He wanted money.
He wanted you, but your mother said no in the end. You wanted to kill your mother, and you did kill her. Your mother went downstairs to see the dogs, and you put the sleeping tablets in her hot milk. Later, you put the empty bottle in Diana's bag. Jackie stood up. Her eyes were dark and afraid. You don't understand, she cried. Mother gave me nothing. All those years I wanted to be happy, to be with Tom. That's all. I love Tom and he loves me. But Mother said no, always no. Then she began to cry. Nobody looked at her.
Oh, poor thing, no? So that is the end of the story.
Yeah, well, there we go.
So we found out that the eldest daughter, Jackie, was in love with Tom. Yeah. And as he was only a gardener, the mother didn't think that he was at the right station to marry her.
No.
So I felt sorry for Jackie.
Gardener.
Yeah.
The lowest of the low.
Yeah. But I felt sorry for Jackie because she was like the mother's servant. She did everything for the mother and never got a thank you. Yes. And when she only asked to be with someone she liked, she said no. So she felt not very good about that. And also Jackie planted the evidence on her sister so that they wouldn't think it's her.
That's right. Yes. Well, in those days, your job, it meant a lot. You know, if you were in high society, if you had a good job, you know, you were really going places. But if you were just a common gardener, you really were nobody.
So it was like, what's your name? What do you do? No, it was like all in one. It was very important, your job. So before people started to even consider you as a future friend or partner, it was very important to know what your profession was.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, maybe not so much, but before it was very important.
Not quite so much these days, no. I mean, all sorts of people do garden. In fact, gardening is big business nowadays. Yeah. I don't know about in Spain, but certainly in the UK, garden centres are 10 a penny. They're all over the place. And they're quite popular here in Spain.
On a personal note, my nephew did as a second job gardening. He loved it. And he didn't have enough time to do all the gardens people asked him to do.
Really? He was in great demand.
Yes, because, you know, people are busy and they haven't got time to do the simple things in the gardening. And he was a very busy person. Wow. So we found out Jackie, the eldest daughter, was the person that murdered her mother. Yeah. And that was the end of this story. So thank you, Alan, for helping us finish the story. Thank you. Bye.